Here's more wrestling news for July 30th, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include AEW and Impact Wrestling made offers to Kurt Angle, talks about a major surgery ahead of him. Cardi B likely to miss WWE SummerSlam hosting gig. Ryback drops bold WWE SummerSlam tease. Spoiler on WWE's plans for Scarlett to join Karrion Kross on Raw. Big reward offered for return of Sheamus' stolen Celtic Cross necklace. Hairstylist shows off Becky Lynch's new hairdo. WWE TV partners reportedly not happy with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan's move to AEW. Kevin Nash doesn't care about CM Punk. WWE working on backup plan in case another pandemic lockdown stops touring, and more. We're kicking off with Kurt Angle, who last wrestled at WrestleMania 35 in 2019, but there's still plenty of interest in the Olympic gold medalist. Speaking to Fightful Select recently, Angle said how he's had a direct offer from AEW and that Shaquille O'Neal himself tried to goad him into joining. Angle explained that he turned down the offer, which he was flattered by, but considers himself too beat up physically to compete at the level he once did. In that same interview, Kurt revealed that he's also received a one-shot deal from Impact to make a one-off return, and though he has a soft spot for the company he once dominated, he never seriously considered the offer. Since being released by WWE in 2020, Angle has made sporadic appearances, but turned down a contract to be Riddle's manager because he wanted to focus on his physically fit nutrition business. As arguably the greatest in-ring wrestler ever, it's wise for Angle to know when to hang up his boots, and fans shouldn't expect to see him appear as a wrestler ever again. If you've listened to a Kurt Angle promo for more than 5 minutes, you'll know he won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck, but Kurt's neck never truly healed. Even now, 25 years after his 1996 Olympics win, Kurt's neck continues to cause him problems, as Angle himself revealed on the latest episode of his show. He said, "Well, my neck is not all that great. I have a lot of motor skill problems in my hands and in my fingers because of my neck. Numbness down my arms. I have a lot of pain in my neck. I've been putting off fusion surgery for 15 years, and I may not be able to put it off much longer. I'm going to eventually have to have fusion surgery. I've had the quick fix surgeries just so that I could get back in the ring again, and the last one I did, I think, was in 2015. But I'm eventually going to have fusion surgery. I've just been putting it off." Kurt, who famously wrestled 47 WWE pay-per-views in a row, added that all neck surgeries he's had since 1996 have been temporary fixes, with his last surgery being in 2015. Since then, the issues in his neck are back, which makes his decision to not wrestle all the more wiser, and we hope that the Olympian's health improves when he inevitably has fusion surgery. SummerSlam next, as Cardi B's song Up is the official theme song for next month's pay-per-view, and in May, it was reported that the rap star was going to host this year's show. It appears that isn't the case now, as Cardi B is pregnant with her second child and is expected to give birth in September. Cardi B's pregnancy has already changed plans for her, as she's currently in a $75,000 defamation trial with blogger Tasha K, and their court date has been pushed from September to November because of the pregnancy. In interviews, Stephanie McMahon has name-dropped Cardi B, showing that she's on WWE's radar, but if there are plans for her to appear on WWE programming, it'll have to wait until after she gives birth. Even without Cardi B, WWE is planning on making this year's SummerSlam as big as possible, which explains the returns of Bill Goldberg and John Cena. We can now report that after 5 years away, that SummerSlam 2021 will mark the WWE return of Ryback, or at least that's what Ryback himself thinks. In a video of him getting a tune-up with his chiropractor, Ryback can be seen farting on his physician, because of course he did, and told fans he'll see ya at SummerSlam. This isn't the first time Ryback has teased an in-ring return since his 2016 departure, but other than a few matches on the indies, the big guy has steered clear of the ring. Given that Ryback is currently in a legal battle with WWE over his name, has claimed WWE are illegally suppressing his Twitter account, and has even called Vince McMahon a pimp in the past, we doubt that the company will be looking to bring him back ever, never mind in time for SummerSlam. It's more likely that Ryback could be one of the 40,000 fans in Allegiant Stadium on August 21st, but the big guy will have to wear a mask if he wants to attend. NXT champion Karrion Kross is far more likely to make the SummerSlam card, even though his main roster run has failed to impress so far. In his debut, Kross lost to Jeff Hardy in mere minutes and only avoided losing to Jeff the following week because of Hardy's positive test. Kross has also lost his epic entrance, and Scarlett is part of his main roster call-up, but the man himself doesn't have a problem with what's happened. On Instagram, Kross issued a statement where he said how Scarlett asked him months ago what his dream call-up would be like, and he said it'd consist of him working on Raw and NXT at the same time. That's exactly what's happened, and despite some poor booking, Kross is overall pleased, as he added, "Getting in front of a packed arena, full house, and having the opportunity to do what I love in front of the WWE Universe, to hear, see, and feel them after over a year of being here without a full attendance and chasing this for long before I arrived. This month has been pretty awesome. Looking forward to the future." Kross may be pleased with him being on the main roster, but fans haven't been happy at all with how he's been booked. That being said, there's a method to WWE's madness, according to Andrew Zarian. On his Mat Men Pro Wrestling podcast, Zarian reported that the plan for this week's Raw would have seen Kross go berserk after losing to Hardy for the second time, adding, "I was told that the plan was that Karrion Kross keeps losing until Scarlett shows up. That's going to bring him back on track because she's able to unleash the Warrior." This explains why Scarlett hasn't joined Kross on the main roster, and Zarian added that one source in WWE said they don't understand why people are freaking out on the internet. WWE apparently has a plan for Kross, and right now that includes losing and being without Scarlett, but it seems fans haven't got the patience for this story to play out. Now, last month, several items were stolen from the Thunderdome, including Sheamus's Celtic cross. Police are still on the hunt for the culprit who stole other items, and now a huge reward has been offered for the return of Sheamus's cross. The Tampa Crime Stoppers have put out a $5,000 reward for information that leads to the cross being recovered, as well as 3 title belts signed by various superstars, and the turnbuckle pad that was also taken. Hopefully someone will have information that leads to these items being returned, or the thief themselves will hand the items over rather than put them on the black market, as it's a shame that the heist happened at all. It's been over a year since Becky Lynch last appeared on WWE TV, but in recent months, there's been plenty to suggest that the man will return very soon. Lynch was reportedly set to make an appearance at WrestleMania 37 that never transpired, and even teased appearing at Money in the Bank earlier this month. Now the former Raw Women's Champion is looking more like her old self, as her hairstylist shared a photo on Instagram of Lynch rocking her signature red hair. In her absence, Lynch ditched the striking red hair in favor of a more natural blonde and brunette mix, as seen in photos of her with Baby Rue. It's been reported that Lynch's return is very soon, as she's expected to challenge the winner of SummerSlam's Raw Women's title triple threat, and she'll be sporting her classic red hair when she eventually returns. Now in September, CM Punk will reportedly make his AEW debut at their All Out pay-per-view in what'll be arguably the company's biggest signing ever. We've already reported that WWE have made it clear that they don't want to work with Punk, but the same can't be said for their TV network partners. That's according to Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men Pro Wrestling podcast, who said that Fox and the USA Network are, quote, shocked that AEW is pulling off the Punk deal, and added, "The partners are shocked because they're not big wrestling fans. They only know names, and when they hear a name like that, they wonder, why would they let him go? They don't really know the inner workings." Any wrestling fan worth their salt knows the complicated history between WWE and Punk and why neither side are on friendly terms, but for WWE's partners, they'll be paying close attention to whether AEW can actually have Punk debut later this year. Mark Henry is just one of many former WWE superstars to call AEW home after debuting at AEW Double or Nothing. Speaking to TV Insider recently, Henry discussed the impending arrivals of Punk and Daniel Bryan, comparing them to 2 major names who jumped to WCW in the Monday Night War if they do indeed join AEW this September. Both gentlemen would be groundbreakers. They would be able to do something in AEW like when Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart went from WCW to WWE. It would be a positive step. Hogan and Bret both had major success in WWE and WCW, having become world champions in both companies, and time will tell if Bryan and Punk can replicate the same success in the All Elite promotion. Kevin Nash was in WCW when Hogan and Brett both made the jump, but he's not as sold on Punk's impending AEW move. When Sean Ross Sapp tweeted whether CM Punk chants in WWE will stop now that he's in AEW, Nash responded with two simple words: "Who cares?" It seems Big Sexy doesn't care about those chants or where Punk goes next, so don't expect Nash and Punk to relive their bizarre 2011 feud a decade later in AEW. And we're ending with WWE, who have finally been able to return to touring after over a year away from fans. With that said, lots of places in the US are tightening restrictions as cases continue to rise, and we previously reported how the home of SummerSlam now has a mask mandate for all indoor public events. On his podcast, Zarian said that everybody in WWE is concerned, and that the company's backup plan if things get worse is to host tapings from 6 or 7 buildings, which will allow WWE to continue touring, albeit on a smaller scale. By comparison, AEW's backup plan would be to go back to Daly's place, but other than the Performance Center, WWE doesn't have a venue that would allow live fans to be present. The last thing WWE wants is to return to the Thunderdome, but with the situation still not over with, the company is wise to have backup plans just in case. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.